Borussia Dortmund have been outdone several times by Bayern Munich in the German Bundesliga. They've won the title just once in the last 10 years, while finishing second on 5 different occasions. However, there is one department where even Bayern cannot match them, and that's in the area of developing young football stars. So what makes Dortmund so good at birthing and developing the newbies? Well, the answer is simple. It's their impressive youth system and their keen eye for the best up-and-coming players in the world. One of such players is Abdou Diallo, and even though he didn't begin his career at Dortmund, he moved to the club in 2018 from Mainz. At Dortmund, his skills as a player grew immensely, up to the point where PSG showed interest in signing him. What makes his development as a player and his move to Paris more astonishing is the fact that he spent just one season with Dortmund, where he played 38 matches. But even with such few games for the German side, PSG was still convinced that he had developed well enough to wear their jersey. Another young player that rose through the ranks at Dortmund to become a megastar elsewhere is Mats Hummels. Even though he spent more time there than Diallo did, he had still grown enough in skill and character to be signed by Bayern Munich 7 years after his debut for Dortmund. Before then, Hummels had gathered all the experience he needed to move to a bigger club. Between 2009 and 2016, he had won 2 Bundesliga titles with Dortmund, as well as 2 DFB Pokals and 3 DFL Super Cups. Now, having a championship-winning mentality, it was time for the former young star to take his talent to an eagerly awaiting Bayern Munich, who splashed as much as 35 million euros to bring him to the Bavarian side of Germany. He did very well for his new club, but only after 3 years, he realised there was no place like home, hence his move back to his beloved Borussia Dortmund in 2019. Speaking of home, one of Dortmund's best ever homegrown talents is none other than Mario Götze. The German international came through Dortmund's youth system, and his skills were so exceptional that he had no problems breaking into the first team in 2009. But Bayern, being who they are, kept a close eye on the young Götze's development at Dortmund. He didn't disappoint the onlookers either, as he scored the goals and provided the assists that made him become one of the most sought-after German midfielders in the league. Bayern had the money, and in 2013, they decided it was time to steal Götze away from his parent club. But Götze didn't leave his old club empty-handed, as he won 2 Bundesliga titles, 1 DFL Super Cup, and 2 DFB Pokals. He is truly one of Dortmund's best products, as he played a total of 103 games for them, with 14 goals in the bag. Another attacking talent who improved his skills while at Dortmund is Henrikh Mkhitaryan. The winger from Armenia spent just 3 seasons with the club, but his growth as a player was enough to convince Manchester United to sign him in 2016. But just like the other young Dortmund stars we've mentioned so far, Mkhitaryan also had his fair share of takeaways from the black and yellow. He came to United as a proud winner of the 2014 DFL Super Cup, and he can beat his chest knowing he scored as many as 14 goals in the 140 matches he played for the club he once called home. Sure, Mkhitaryan's goal tally for Dortmund wasn't bad, being that he wasn't an all-out striker, but there was one Dortmund star who had no problems tucking the ball behind the goal line with every opportunity that came his way. The man I'm talking about is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who joined Dortmund from AC Milan in 2013. The young man became an instant hit with the Dortmund faithful, and he ended up spending 4.5 seasons with them. His time there was absolutely impressive, as he blossomed into a player who could score a whopping 141 goals in only 213 matches. Arsenal became the eventual beneficiaries of Aubameyang's newly improved goal-scoring form, as they signed him from Dortmund in the 2017-18 season. Now back to more Dortmund youth products, and this time we'll be talking about Christian Pulisic, who became one of the club's biggest exports in recent history. After leaving his long-lasting mark on Dortmund's academy, the young American broke into the first team in 2016, where he played extremely well for 3 seasons before Chelsea came knocking on the door. Sadly for the fans of his parent club, the money was just too good, and he signed for the Blues in 2019. He did have something to show for his time at Dortmund before leaving though, being that he won the DFB Pokal in 2017. He wasn't bad as a developing striker either, as he scored a commendable 19 goals in 127 appearances for Dortmund before saying goodbye. Now how can we talk about Dortmund's bright young stars without mentioning Jadon Sancho? Of course, he wasn't with them from the very beginning of his career, but no one could deny that Dortmund moulded him into the player he is today. He started off with the Manchester City Academy, but moved to the black and yellow side of Germany in 2017, where he greatly improved his skills as an attacker. During his 4 seasons with Dortmund, he won 2 major titles, which include the DFB Super Cup in 2019 and the DFB Pokal in 2022. That aside, he improved so much under Dortmund's care that he snagged away some individual awards for himself, one of which was the 2022 DFB Pokal Top Scorer Award. and the other being the Bundesliga Goal of the Month award in 2019. But it didn't end there, as he was also selected as part of 2 Bundesliga Teams of the Season in 2019 and 2020 respectively. This just goes to show how much he improved as a player in his 137 matches for Dortmund, while scoring 50 goals in the process. This was more than enough for Manchester United to dip into their pockets and pay a whopping €85 million for him in 2021. Another big club in Europe that kept a close eye on Dortmund's young stars is Barcelona, and they found exactly what they were looking for in Ousmane Dembele. While at Dortmund, he developed a lot of pace in his legs, as well as the confidence to take on defenders who stood in his path. The young Frenchman became a part of the Dortmund family in 2016. However, he only spent 1 season with the club. This could mean he was so poor that they cut him off, or he was so good that the bigger teams in Europe wanted him. The latter was the case, because after helping them win the DFB Pokal in 2017 and scoring 10 goals in 50 matches for Dortmund, Barca knew it was now or never to snatch the talented winger, just as Manchester City knew the right time to tow away the next young Dortmund star in our video. I'm talking about Erling Haaland, who after leaving Salzburg in 2020 went to develop his already impressive skills at the German club. And develop he did, because after playing only 89 matches for Dortmund, he rewarded their faith in him by popping an impressive 86 goals. Haaland was scoring in practically every match for Dortmund, and his goals helped them win the DFB Pokal in 2021. It is safe to say that Dortmund groomed arguably the hottest striker in Europe at the moment. And even though Manchester City had nothing to do with his development, they are the ones who are now enjoying the Norwegian striker's skills. Haaland has already won the Champions League and the EPL with Manchester City, finishing as their top scorer in both competitions. And while it's sad for the Dortmund fans to see their ex-player do so well for another club, they can be proud to say that they were part of his journey to becoming a potential Ballon d'Or winner. But Haaland isn't the only potential Ballon d'Or winner to have passed through Dortmund. Not if Jude Bellingham has anything to say about it. Trust me when I say that the Signal Iduna Park went crazy upon seeing Bellingham take the pitch in Borussia Dortmund's colours. He had just signed from his boyhood club Birmingham City, and he went on to show the world what he could do wearing the black and yellow. He quickly blended into the first team, thanks to his versatility in the midfield and his style of play, which was quite mature for a player as young as he was. Bellingham not only became a regular feature for Dortmund, but also for the England national team. At this point, Liverpool started moving in on him, but who could beat Real Madrid to a player's signature? No one. And that was how in the summer of 2023, Jude Bellingham said his goodbyes to Dortmund in a transfer that shook bank vaults to its hinges. Madrid paid over €100 million to Dortmund to take their best player away, and this became the biggest transfer in their history. So guys, what do you think about Dortmund's recent knack for grooming the best young talent in Europe? Hit the comments below and let us know. And if you enjoyed watching this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We'll catch you in the next one.